Right, so we are back with the last part of this Taiwan Zoom when it comes to the current state of handball. With us now is Carlos Centeno, Buddha Carlos, committee member numero uno. UNO, Carlos, introduce yourself, man.
What's up, guys? Carlos Centeno, just a fan of the game.
Haha,
Wow, that's
just
it.
a
Color's
fan.
crazy.
Just a fan. All right. So the last question, I mean, the last official question, and then we're going to kind of get into a few other things briefly, is the idea that Taiwan had about forming a players' union, a players' committee. So the question for Taiwan is, first off, what types of roles and responsibilities would this players' union have? And also, how many members would it associate, and who do you think would qualify to be good candidates for this players union?
Okay. Um, so with the players union, I was thinking in two ways. I was thinking maybe one person, one player to represent the whole entire players. So like say if like let's just say if Justin, you was and the head charge of carrying out our concerns, right? But we have like us players have a meeting with you, and then you could be able to represent us when speaking with the committee and other boards, on behalf of us. So just that one person that could be able to sit in the table around the table with you guys and be able to discuss our concerns, but not 5 to 6 people. 'Cause I think it's going to be too many different opinions when it should just be one carrying out all of our concerns.
Okay, so now would it be 5 or 6 people that speak to that one head of household, and then that one head of household speaks to the committee?
Yes.
Okay, so those 5 or 6 people that speak to that one person, who do you think that should consist of?
So I think we can have someone for Philly, like, but they have to be willing um, to be on board to say this is something that they want to sign up for. Like, because I know that if we say, because I know they do a lot. Philly guys do a lot. One minute they doing this, then they have juggling 10 more different things. I know I would say Sam is one of the greats, him or Wally, but Wally is he don't really be that involved with the handball community as much as in Philly. To I know Doug Sam do. So one or the other who have that time to be able to have a meeting with us. So it could be like one person from like Philly, one first person from Long Island, one person from like Brooklyn. Because I could speak to the Brooklyn guys or whoever is in, and then sit with Colleen or Alan, whoever was from the Bronx, and then that one person carry out our concerns.
Okay, Carlos, what do you think about that so far?
I mean, it sounds like a good idea. We had a we had a talk before. Um, in terms of like, let's say, like a players' union, right? Um, the only thing is, like a union would be a little bit more intricate, right? And I don't know if you bounce these ideas off Taiwan, right? Like, let's say a union collects dues, right? Um, so you form a players' union, you get all the players, they in turn, you got to have all the steps though, right? You got to have a secretary, right? You got to have a treasurer, and they collect dues from all the members. And with these dues, you can actually help. Maybe you can ask for sponsorship as well to help sponsor referees, referee clinics, right? Then if you have a lot more certified refs, you can come to people that are doing events and say, these are the certified refs that we have. These are who we prefer. These are who we want. Now they're level twos, level threes, whatever it may be. And, maybe we can give them a little bit more money as well because they are certified at level two, at level three, whatever that may be. Um, and it's a little give and take there, right? And then in turn, the players get who they want as refs, right? The refs that are willing to study and understand the game, right, and read the rule books, they in turn will make a little bit more money than someone who just refuses to read the rule books and just wants to ref. Um, because both sides will want those certified refs, right? The players and the people who are throwing the tournaments that you go to. So that was just a thought process that I had, and I had brought it up to Justin as well. I don't know if you had thought about something like that.
That would be dope. Everything Carlos said, I definitely agree with. That would be really amazing. Um, yeah, but go ahead,
Yeah.
Justin.
So to keep in mind, right, to kind of piggyback off of what Carlos said, the reason why you would want some sort of union dues is because you can't just say, I'm Colleen Rosa. I won 2 open doubles last year. I qualified to be in this players committee, this players union. No, you have to reach certain criteria and also pay your spot, right? Because the minute you stop paying your spot, somebody else can take your spot, right? So it's almost like a subscription to get this benefit. You can't just get the benefit because, right? And the reason why this is subscription, because there's that money that you collect is going to go to good places, right? And it's going to go to, like Carlos said, to referees, to clinics. It can even go to, let's say you wanted to do a junior event, right? To give back to the community. And you're like, okay, well, we're going to get the food and the drinks for this junior event, right? Because juniors can collect money, little things like that, right? So, with that being said, I know that you said like guys like you, Colleen, Alan, Sam, um, does everyone have to be active in order to be
No,
part of it? Okay.
no,
Hall of
no.
Fame players you would think
Yeah.
are good, like a rookie, like let's say
Oh
rookie wanted
yeah,
to
yeah,
represent. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, do they have to be A players?
No,
It could be anybody.
it could be
Right.
anybody.
So you would kind of set a criteria, and then as long as you hit these kind of pinpoints and you pay your dues, you would allow them to be within this players union.
Yeah, yeah.
So even C players like Justin, I mean,
What?
Wait,
I
whoa, whoa,
knew
whoa.
you were going there.
Damn.
I
Listen.
mean,
So now, okay.
Because
So
you
let's
might
go over
have
the.
people who you might have people who didn't get an A card, but they have so much um like push for the sport that they really genuinely want to push the sport. Why should they be cut off access because of not having a card?
Yeah. No, I appreciate
When they
that for
really want to better the
all
sport.
us. Yeah, all of us non-A players. We got a shot, guys, in the players union. Come on. So now what kind of responsibilities would this player union have, right? So referees is a big one,
Hmm.
right? What else do you think a players union would have? Would it be rules, right? What I know before Carlos, we were speaking about Taiwan does appreciate that when we are trying to do stuff, we kind of try to unify USHA rules. Is that something you would want? You would want to be part of like, listen, if you're doing a sanctioned event, it has to have these kind of rules. Do you think that would fit in that the responsibilities? Guy?
Oh, you mean yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm sorry, I thought you was asking Carlos. My bad, I was
mm,
trolling. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because remember we trying to like the sport, and y'all have helped so much with the committee and working with USHA. Y'all kind of like really reformed and molded handball, and it's where we at now. So we doing great things. You guys are doing great things, and I think this would take us to the next step. But we need that. Imagine us saying, okay, you could be a part of it, but you don't have to follow the USHA rules. Then it's unbalanced of this organization now. No, but those are the standards we have. In order to set the tone. Got to set the
Yeah.
tone.
well, I think a thing like that, like like I was saying, right? So you get your pool of refs that are in there. Then you contact, the organizations like us and Saha and everyone else. But then you can also contact USHA and say every time there's a tournament, these are the refs. Like these guys are USH certified, right? And USHA will use them pretty much for any event that they have, in the tri-state area. Let's say, as long as the refs are willing to travel. Of course, refs never get paid as much as they should. That's always tough. Um, because it's a tough job. It's a very, very tough job. And I've always said I never charge I never charge to ref, right? I always do it for free because you can't pay me enough to ref. Like you can't. So if it's like if I gotta charge you, it's gonna be an astronomical amount of money. So I'm like, there's no way. So I'm just gonna do it for free because if I'm getting paid for it, I'm like, this is too tough of a job for what I'm getting paid, right? You have to do it for the love of the game, and some of these refs they don't really do it for the love of the game, and you can see the little bit of difference there, so they kind of like may seem like they just want the game to be over, and you can never go into any job that way, right? Like just have my day be over because you get confrontational, you know and that's always it's difficult sometimes because the players have to own that too, right? They'll give the refs a hard time, and we're all human. I always try to tell, like, whenever I'm running an event, I always tell all my refs, like, don't get into a confrontation. You call the score. If there's an issue, you come see me, and I'll work that out, right? Um, but if you don't have somebody informing your refs of that, again, we're all human. You feel like you're being picked on, you're being yelled at, and sometimes you want to lash back, and that makes it a difficult situation. But with maybe a little bit more training, you know, they understand it because there's also ways of dealing with players that get out of hand, right?
Hmm.
One of the biggest things, like I said, is you call the score because the other team knows that the minute you call the score, they're gonna serve. So you have a guy that's maybe mouthing off a little bit, you give them 5, 6, 7 seconds. There's a 10-second thing, right? And then you let them vent a little bit as long as it's not disrespectful, and then you're like, okay, the score is now 10-9. He's going to turn around real quick because the other team is going to be ready to serve, and that little thing right there a lot of times just diffuse a situation that keeps the game flowing. But it's little things that you got to learn and patience. But with a little bit of unity, you can go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, these players that's once you get the proper training, I think that's what it is. Because any job, you never start out that way. You probably started out a little shaky, but the more experience and training you got under your belt, you become even better. So that's basically what it is. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Carlos.
Yeah, and so I know in your live you were talking about like player suspensions, right? So one thing me and Carlos we've talked about in the past, we've never, since the committee has been formed, technically we never suspended anyone,
Mm-mm.
right? So the way that we kind of dealt with people's attitudes and personalities is we just won't invite you to the next event. Now you're not suspended, but we just won't invite you. Do you think that if you were to form a players union, that's something that you would want to take on, that responsibility of suspensions? Right? Because it's kind of like we don't want that responsibility, right? We're not trying to upkeep and deal with people that are upset and the excuses on why they did what they did. Is that something the players union would do?
I think having a conversation with the players and the board to see if that's which route they want to take. Because I'm fine either way. Not inviting them or the band, it don't matter. But I like the idea of not inviting them because then they're gonna feel like, damn, let me fix myself. Because by not inviting someone, they feel left out. By banning someone, they still go right back into doing it the next year or the next year. But when you're not inviting someone for all these great opportunities, they're gonna feel like, yo, let me get my together. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
definitely like that approach by not inviting them.
It's worked. It has worked. Definitely. Carlos, do you agree? Like
Yeah, well, you know my stance in that, right? When I first came back into handball, PHA was pretty much the ladies at PHA that were phenomenal. And they were kind of like holding the fort, right? Like they were doing suspensions, you know. Um, and then, we had a meeting with all the organizational heads, and we were like, wait, we can't let a player disrespect one organization and then go to the next one and feel like, hey, I can still play over here. I don't care about ya. So we all got together, and that's when the suspensions unilaterally across the board started, right? Like, I don't even remember how long ago it was, but it made a big impact, right? We don't really just suspend people to suspend them because we don't like them, because they don't like us, whatever. It was just some major things, right? And then there's also what we called in-house suspension, right? Okay, I'm not going to suspend you across the board, but any event that I have for this year, you can't play, right? Like Taiwan said, fix yourself, right? And then come back and we'll revisit it again, and we gave that option to the other organizations as well, right? If it's not something that's really major, you can do an in-house suspension, right? All those things I think work, as well as, like you said, we just stop inviting certain people, and they noticed that with a quickness. They were like, wait a minute, that's like 2 events and I didn't get an invite, and they would approach one of us like, how come? And we'd be like, hey, listen, because of this and this and that. And sometimes they push back a little bit. They'll say, "Oh, what about this guy?" Oh, well, we're not talking about that guy. We're talking about you. And then sooner or later, they all came around. They all would come around, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right." And they would just act accordingly the way they're supposed to, and that helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Suspensions and revoking invites is definitely something that players union can do. Is there anything else that you think you guys would do if you were to form this?
Um, I think it's definitely more things that we can definitely implement inside the players board. I just probably can't think of it right now, but trust me, I'll figure out a few more things that we can list on the players board. Even if you
And
guys
who?
have some ideas, that
Yeah,
we can
absolutely.
do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen. One thing that and Carlos can probably attest to this, since we formed the committee, the committee started like this. Well, first of it started with just me and Carlos, then Adam, and then it started like this, and then it ended up with just me, Carlos, and Adam. Right? We tried to get Colleen, but he declined the invitation. But Carlos can attest to this. A lot of people think that since the committee was formed, we dictate handball, and we really don't, right? We just set a standard for ourselves, and people like the standard that we set, and they want to follow. But it's not like we're like, hey, listen, this is what you need to do. It's more like this is what we do and this is why, and they just agree to it, right? So if the players union were to form, then a real form of our committee would also have to be established, and we would have to coincide with each other to make sure it's all for the betterment of handball, right?
Mhm.
um I'm curious to know, besides naming yourself, this is the last question with the players union. um who would be the head person?
That's the question, right? Um,
I'm
that's
thinking
the
Larry.
okay, okay, okay. That's a good recommendation. I think Larry. Yeah, I think so because I think Larry, he there's a level like he once was a player. He understands the rules. Like he's leveled up in so many different ways, areas of his life where even the way he speaks now and his process of how he view things. And I'm like, yo, Larry, that's dope, So he can definitely carry out the weight if he's willing, because this is a task that people have to be see if they able and willing to take on. Um, but I think he's a good candidate. I think he's a good candidate.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah,
is.
and I also see Larry as, like, if you come to him, let's say you talk to Colleen and Rookie and Sam, and you guys are like, yeah, I think that we should always be seated in the tournament whether we lose or not. And it's like a terrible idea, and you bring it to Larry, he won't even bring it to no one. He'll be like, no, I'm not. I'm not bringing that up, right? Like, he would be that kind of ultimate blockade, like speed bump, right? Or what's the word I'm looking for, Carlos? He would be that.
Well, he would be a buffer to
Yeah,
something where he's like, no, that makes absolutely no sense, and we're not doing that.
Right.
Um, it's just, the person has to have the time first and foremost,
Hmm.
to be able to do the things that are needed.
Yes.
yeah,
I think Yeah, the time is definitely that's the most important thing is the time. I think with the players board, we can help each other in so many areas where it's not just on one person. I think when Larry, if he do have the time, he'll just be able to, of course, be involved in the meetings, but then can carry the weight back and to you guys. And then he could do that, meet and set up the meeting with you guys to come up with other solutions. But I think Larry's a good candidate. Larry is really stand on structure, integrity of the game and sport himself. So I think that's the two things that we really look for to someone as a leadership to be able to represent the players board
Yeah,
and respect it.
absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. I mean, I love Larry, man. He'll be at the Snipes event, FYI.
that's my
All right.
guy.
But he's only refing the semis and the finals. So, make sure you make it there if you want
Oh,
Larry to be the ref.
I hope I do God willing. The training
Mhm.
starting. Yeah, I started
So
the season out.
speaking about the Snipes event that's happening at IS-10, let's talk about the event that's no longer happening at IS-10 this year, which is the US Open. Izzy, immediately after you went live, you didn't go live, but immediately after you posted your video,
Hmm.
he shared your video saying that poof, and just like that, the US Open is canceled. Tell me your thoughts on that. How do you feel? Why do you think that happened? Do you think it'll ever be back? Give me everything.
Um, I haven't been playing handball since the tournament. I think I went. So I kind of been processing everything. That's the me. I'm not like impulsively like reacting. I don't try to react on certain things. I try to process it and then view it, you know, on both sides. And I want to say, unfortunately, well, I want to say this. Let me start off with the positive, right? If indeed, what's is he? If this is what they really going to do, because I know at the end part he's saying they was working on the groundwork for the what he said was the professionalism for the ground up, like working on the foundation. So reinventing yourself and starting back from ground, that's great, because all businesses need that, right? And I think if they revamp themselves, I think that's a great thing, the outlook to look on it, right? That's the positive outlook that I'm hoping for, that's what it's about. Now on the other side, I hope that is really because the way it was put out there, a lot of people thought it was my doing, and which is never the case. I hope that it wasn't me because I don't think that one person should stop the show or the betterment of the sport because of one person made a comment that you either didn't like or didn't want to take like accountability of, like because we can. 'Cause I'm not perfect. Like I mentioned to Justin, I was saying I don't think I should have ever went on their live to say that. That was wrong. I take accountability, but I do stand corrected when I did my video to correct that on how I really meant to say it. In a positive way, because that was really my heartfelt passion to say it in a loving way, so that way the sport can hear it and we can do something about it, like we on this call today to do something about it, not be in our feelings and offended by everything someone has said in regards to something that I didn't like. Um, I just think that it's if Izzy and Melissa is going off the well, impact. Let me just say impact. If they going off the emotional factor, it's not only hurting the sport, but they had something great going. That everybody looked up to. Like King of the Court was there, and there's not a lot of big singles. If you guys not involved no more, where handball's going to be as far as events, right? Because no one really throwing big events. The pool is no longer. So all the big tournaments and then now the U.S. Open is not happening. Is like, wow. So if there's other reasons behind it, that's fine because we all understand. But I feel like don't use me as the escape on why you're not doing it. If it's other reasons, don't use me as the escape goal. Because that's not cool. Um, it's unfortunate because everybody looking forward to those titles from King of the Court, the Nationals, and the U.S. Open. Not having one of them, that's a huge chunk out of handball. You know. I just hope that when they are ready to throw the tournament, it's more with a new focus of professionalism, and just the things that they need to work on within themselves in order for the tournament to be even better. Because that's a great tournament. You guys being involved last year and the year before, it really helped the sport. It really helped. So working with each other really helps each other. Where people lacking, and that's not their strong points. That's what other people that you need to let in to be able to say, I don't have. I'm not good in time management. Somebody, I'm gonna hire them to do that. So that way they can fill in the gaps so we can be able to have a professional tournament. It was unfortunate. The reason why I made that statement because coming from that big a tournament and being, coming into some light of professional, and then this one it was like day and night. It was like totally day and night because of the lack of help he could have reached out to in regards to more help. So that way, but I just hope that they could revamp themselves in a positive way and move forward even bigger and better. Cause that's it. But I always say this: it's either you for the like, because I asked a few people, they were sour. They was like, Taiwan, how can you be the reason? That's crazy. Look what you did, and they were just pointing a finger at me, and I'm like, bro, I did nothing. But those who seen the video that I posted and didn't see the beauty of the positive behind it, then it makes me question: are you really for the sport growth, or you really for your pockets? Because a lot of people are for their pockets. Oh, I need that just to make money. He was giving out man money. Now I can't get that. I was looking forward to that. Okay, that's great. The money comes and goes, but at the end of the day, if we have these big events and we're not really highlighting the best of the best that handball have to offer, it's like, okay, what are we really in for? If the up and coming, because at the end of the day, I want the numbers to grow within the new junior community. Like, I want the next top player after me that could be able to look up to something even more in the sport. Like, yo, bro, get more. Like, okay, you young here, you got more to look up to in the game. Not settle for crumbs or settle for the unprofessional or have to let them go through things that we've been through in the games. I don't feel like they should have to go through that. If we can stop the bleeding now, let us stop the bleeding and be able to to elevate in every area of the game. Because
So
I've been doing it this far. I've been doing it, so why we can't do more? And things
yeah.
that we can control. We can control these things. So let us, stop putting a band-aid on something that's really more. But I feel like when because things are being more addressed, because things are being addressed now, I think it wasn't before. Well, maybe it was addressed, but because it's coming from me, and I guess because I'm a top player, it is like more of a sting. Like, damn, I don't know. I don't know. But I hope that I don't know. I just hope that I don't know. I don't know.
Do
I'm
you
Well,
okay,
torn.
here's a
I'm torn.
question for you. Here's a question for you. If if a conversation is needed between you and Impact Pro in order to get past, if there's something that needs to get past, right? Are you willing to have that conversation with them?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's a start.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm never closed. Like, even when you mentioned with Phil, me and him had a conversation. I'm always open to conversation. I'm never that type. And I'm always looking to get past. If it's something, because for me, I feel like I have no bad blood towards any. Those my guys. But maybe it's something that they need to address with me so they can be able to move past. I'm with it. I'm on board. I'm on board. Yeah.
All right.
so tell
I'm
me,
never closing the door.
tell me, who said it was all your fault and why was it Los?
Well,
Look,
it was a lot of different narratives out there, but I don't pay that no mind. But they was going in. The trollers on Facebook is dangerous. Oh my god.
All
Oh
right,
my
but
god.
so like my hot take on that, immediately was, um, it's you may have been speaking from the heart, right? But it's always better to take a moment and think about it, right? And then maybe you should have addressed them and then, addressed a live, maybe on your live or whatever. But immediately after the event, you know how they say let cool heads prevail, right? Take a step back and think about it, because when it comes out like that immediately after an event, it might come out as venom, right? Um, and then people just make quick decisions in the heat of the moment, you know. Um, so you said some things. My One of my big issues with what you said is you came at refs, right? It's a hard job, you know. I know there were some reffing issues, right? But it's you've been there, right? It's not an easy job. You've been on both ends, right? You've been on the court when not necessarily you, because I don't really see you giving refs a hard time at any point in time. But you've been on the court where players are giving the refs a really hard time, right? And it's stressful, it's stressful as all could hell, so it adds to it when you're getting beat up as a ref, you know?
Correct. Hmm.
And then it's coming from everybody, and then at times you almost feel like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even doing this? You know? Because we've all had those moments. I've had those moments. You just don't see it, you know? Um, so then, going on a live and then, like killing this guy and killing that guy gets a bit much, because now it's like, well, I was trying, because you don't see yourself in the moment when you're refing or whatever. You may not see what you're doing wrong, because none of us are perfect, right? We all make mistakes. More often than not, the player is wrong, right? Because I've proven that on a lot of occasions, right? Because you think you see something in the heat of the moment, heat of battle, and you really don't see what you thought you saw, So then they come down on the refs, and then that piles up, and then they do make a mistake, and then now you feel like the ref made four mistakes when he only really made one, you know. So then it piles up and it piles up, and it's just hard, because giving the refs a hard time just prolongs the game too. And then when you make all those points, whether they were valid or not, it comes across as you're just spewing venom out at the refs, and they're like, well, what am I doing this for? Where you can always have a conversation afterwards, right? And one of the things I always tell, like whenever I'm running an event, is like, tell me beforehand, right? Tell me beforehand, listen, I don't want this guy wrecking my game. You don't even have to give me an excuse, right? As long as it's beforehand, and I'm like, I'll do my best to try to alleviate the situation, switch out the refs, whatever it is, right? Because not every ref is built. See, this is the difference, right? Not every ref is built for every game, right? Certain players, certain situations, dictate a much stronger, much stern refing style, right? Because you don't want somebody that's is just going to allow a lot of things to happen, and you're playing a certain player that likes to do certain things, right? So but that's not every game. But it was just one of those things where you just shot it out and it comes off as venomous, so then somebody will take it and they'll be like, well, shit, I don't want to do this, and that's the issue. More often than not, you come up to the ref, you come up to the organizational heads, and you speak to them. That's always the best move, especially if you're looking to advance the sport and you're looking at like player representation and things like that, of that nature, right? And going on a live and just spilling out your guts isn't going to work, right? Speaking to people, that definitely works, or it doesn't always work, right? Because sometimes you get somebody and they're like, I don't want to hear it, whatever. But then you're like, all right, well, at least I tried.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're just gonna kind of segue this into something that Carlos said, the betterment of the sport and where we're going with the sport. And Taiwan, this has been a great interview with you. I hope that people watch it from start to finish, because there's a lot of insight. But I want to end it on a positive note, right? Not that it was negative, but I want to end it really up here. And I'm gonna ask you a question in a positive fashion. Why do you know handball is going to make it somewhere?
I know it because handball isn't just a sport. It's like that burning feeling in your gut. Like automatically. Like I could have got it any week, or could have been doing anything else in any other sport. It's something that connects us there that we know something, and it's from love. Love kills everything. So that passion that's burning. But like Carlos mentioned, he said, when you when you like I don't know, like making this sport big is like a dream. It's like we all pinch ourselves to say, is this real? So when we get more opportunities and when we start traveling, being exposed to different things, we like, yo, it can make it. It can make it. Then when we seeing, like, the only reason why it won't make it would be because of us. It's not anything. The opportunities is there. So I know if any other sport can make it, why we can't? We can do it. We have it. We're so excited. Like, watching handball is so exciting to anybody that watch the game, whether it's online or in person. So we have the thrill. We have the excitement. We just need the unity. We just need to continue to push forward. That's it. And handball is that thing. I'm telling you. It is something that we can't stop doing, even if we wanted to do it, unless we move or something with no handball court. But something always pulls us back here. It's like a safe haven for each and every one of us, you know? And
Yeah.
it's always been for me. I don't think if I didn't have handball in my life, I don't even know where I would be. So I know that is so much value, great relationships that we created and families and stuff. It's amazing. The sport is amazing, but we focus so much. We don't take it like we take it for granted. We don't see the beauty in everything the handball has to offer or have created in our life. So why not go to the next level? Why not get it professional? So when we finish it playing, we could look back and be like, we sitting back in the bleachers like, oh, like, look what we done. It made
Hmm.
it. That's my dream, to say we really made it. That everything we put into the sport wasn't for nothing.
Yeah.
Let's not
I'm
Yeah,
a
keep the generational stuck. Like, let's not just keep that stuck. Let's just do it. Let's do it.
that's why I how did I introduce myself? I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan of the sport. I'm a fan of the players, always have been. As an ex-player, I lived it, I breathed it, as a ref, as a tournament coordinator, as a volunteer, right, Justin? Um, and it's just there's a simpleness in the brutality of it all, right? It's just you smacking a ball against the wall, right? Very simple yet brutal, but it's also very poetic, right? It's just when it's done right. Justin, you've played quite a few different sports. I played a lot of sports growing up. When it's done right, there's nothing better. There just isn't.
Yeah. There's beauty to it, like you both said. I always say that the addicting part of handball is it's the one sport where every time you get on the court, you're a little better than the last time. And I love that part of it. Um, and then the other side of it is just watching someone like Taiwan stiff arm a shot with his opposite. And if you've never played handball before, you're like, yeah, that's easy. And then you just fail. And it's almost like you're chasing that failure makes you chase success, right? Because you're like, I've seen someone do this and I know that I could get there. It's addicting at its finest. I love handball, and you're right, Taiwan. We can all be somewhere else, and I do it for the simple reason that I see myself coaching a winning team in some sort of big arena one day, and just kind of giving a little fist pump, like there we go, we got it. But yeah, this was great. I loved your answer there, Carlos. Thank you for joining for this last session. Hopefully this kind of brings some awareness and we get somewhere a little further for the year of 2024 than we were last year. Hopefully when the Buddha comes, I mean, if the Buddha
Well,
comes back, you
first
know,
and first and foremost, May 18th. Snipes, 10's Finest Committee, hosting 16 A's, 16 B's. It's going to be short, sweet, and amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
don't want to miss it. Get with it or get lost. Y'all not going to want to miss it. That's going to highlight the first big open tournament for B's and the A players for the season, right? That'd be the first big one to highlight to start it off right. It's gonna be dope at IS10.
Yeah. It's exciting, man. You know, maybe I could talk Carlos into some sort of Florida versus the world open division.
That would be
I don't know.
crazy.
I don't know. He's cursing me out in his head right now. So
Like,
Why? I curse you out enough anyway. You know this.
But yeah, so Taiwan, Carlos, thank you guys so much. For anybody that's watching, this is going to go up most likely on YouTube. And just, you know, put some comments in, let me know what you guys think, and if you want to continue this with Taiwan, with Carlos, with someone else, with a panel, with Taiwan and Carlos involved, you know, let me know. Keep the comments going.
Like and subscribe. Golden access.
Handball
Like and
access, man. You always say golden access.
My bad. Like and subscribe. Handball access. Like and subscribe.
Tywan Cook handball channel.
Tywan Cook handball channel. Also, you know, I have my own YouTube one wall videos where all the old school games are at. You know, I've been uploading some. I think I just uploaded one today, which is like the oldest recorded Big Blue doubles tournament, like the very first one that was recorded. Coney Island by Mr. Morris Franco. So like and subscribe us all, and peace.